Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome to the Black Ops 6 review. The game we waited 4 years for, the game that was 4 years in the making, the game that was developed by Treyarch, who a lot of us had hoped would deliver us from the evil that is Infinity Ward game design. Well, did they deliver? Is the game good? Was it worth the wait? Without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump on into it. First things first, I think that in a lot of ways, Black Ops 6 was a letdown for fans who've been waiting all of these years. That's not to say that the game is irredeemable, it's just that Treyarch really messed up when it came to two core game mechanics that make or break the Call of Duty multiplayer experience, which of course would be map design and the spawn system. My previous video was about skill-based matchmaking and how it goes hand in hand with the maps that we have here in Black Ops 6, so I'm going to try not to harp on that too much here in this video, but the core maps have been a major letdown for fans. We were promised 16 maps at launch and they did deliver that, but 4 of them are only available within the face-off mosh pit. This means that if you're trying to play the normal Black Ops 6 multiplayer, hopping into game modes like Team Deathmatch, Kill Confirm, Domination, Search and Destroy, you only have 12 maps to choose from, and most of them, I'll be honest, are just hot garbage. You have maps like Babylon, where you're just being spawn killed 24/7, to maps like Red Card, where you literally run around for 2 minutes straight, unable to find a single person. A lot of the maps in this game are basically just glorified Nuketown clones with how small and fast they are, with the remaining maps clearly just being ripped straight from the new Warzone map because they don't feel like they belong in multiplayer whatsoever. Between the tiny maps and the clearly unfinished spawn system, the core experience of Black Ops 6 feels tainted, and that's only further compounded by skill-based matchmaking. You guys have heard that so many times on every single channel across the internet. While skill-based matchmaking is no different here in this game, it's still just as sweaty as ever. I will say it's not all bad within Black Ops 6 though, because the core gunplay does feel pretty good, the kill streaks are powerful, they take a bit to earn, but they are pretty powerful. Player progression and camo progression are absolutely top-notch, and despite the meat grinder feel of the core multiplayer, Black Ops 6 does feel really rewarding with everything there is to do and everything there is to unlock. I think this is the secret sauce of a Call of Duty launch. They added so much stuff for us to do that even though the core experience is sweaty as hell and oftentimes more frustrating than fun, those extra things they added have players coming back every single day. Hell, even from my perspective, I already have 1 day of playtime in Black Ops 6 despite the fact that the game basically just came out. I'm over here streaming the game like 6 hours a day while also making YouTube videos on top of that, and then when the video is up, I typically hop back on the game because, I don't know, I'm close to finishing off those shotgun headshots, or maybe I want to finish up that last daily challenge to get some bonus XP since Prestiging is back and now better than ever. There is so much to grind for in Black Ops 6 that it does genuinely feel rewarding and engaging, which just further makes the matchmaking system piss me off even more. When the game has good content in it, tangible things to work towards that are rewarding and fun, then why does matchmaking need to be rigged? I know I should only speak for myself, but I'm going to speak for thousands of you out there, I'm sure. The matchmaking does not engage me and have me wanting to play more. It's the exact opposite. The matchmaking is the only thing holding me back from losing my entire life to Black Ops 6. I already love the challenges. I adore the camo grind. I love having classic prestige back, and then the prestige rewards are just phenomenal. Grinding the game feels great. Despite all the issues, if you're looking for like how a game feels, grinding this game feels fantastic, but the only thing holding me back is I go brain dead after about an hour of dealing with skill-based matchmaking with everybody butt sliding around the map as I'm trying to get direct impacts with my freaking rocket launcher. Engagement optimized matchmaking makes no sense in a game with great engagement mechanics. The only time you would need to optimize matchmaking is if there's literally nothing else in the game to grind for. Why are you optimizing matchmaking for the bottom like 30% of the player base while the rest of us are left to suffer? Even if you are in that bottom 30% of the player base, you can barely even walk forward and shoot at the same time, you're still going to get the same rewarding feeling that we do when you get those headshots, the same rewarding feeling when you level up, when you prestige, when you do all these things within the game. It's all still there for you, and if nothing else, having all those grinds in the game should encourage you to want to get better at the game so you can unlock those things even more quickly. It's like Treyarch put all these great rewards and grinds into Black Ops 6, and it's being ruined by the matchmaking system that Activision insistently thinks makes the game better. It's such a frustrating situation. And then we have the new Omni movement, which is also a bit weird to me. It seems more like a gimmick than anything, and what it results in is not us running around like action heroes, jumping out of windows and pulling off crazy stunts like Treyarch thought, but rather it just results in most people butt sliding around these tiny maps with their terrible spawn system, which creates a situation where every map is devoid of almost any kind of flow. Omni movement on paper sounds good, but only for those bottom 30% of the player base like I mentioned, where they play the game like human beings and not G Fuel guzzling androids. Like I mentioned before, not every match is like this, but a lot of the time it it is. Omni movement doesn't really add a skill factor to the game as much as it creates randomness and chaos. It's a tool that creates unwinnable scenarios and frustration, not unlike advanced movement did back during Advanced Warfare, Black Ops 3, and Infinite Warfare. Picture a scenario, if you would. Allow me to Picasso you up a scenario here. You walk into a room. There's one person butt sliding 8 feet across the floor while the other person is dolphin diving backwards and doing a 360. How are you going to win that scenario? You're not. Of course you're not. Pulling off double kills consistently didn't used to be a huge problem, but when two people are sliding through the door in unison with virtually no downside to their weapon handling or accuracy, you find yourself playing a game where instead of aiming high, going for center mass, going for headshots, like really trying to establish map control, to rather walking around the maps, almost aiming down towards the ground because you know if there's a corner ahead of you, somebody's going to slide around it. People will say that Omni movement is a skill tool in the game, but again, it just causes randomness. Maybe it's a skill tool in a 1v1 or Warzone, then sure, but when you're playing 6v6 domination with no respawn delay on a map the size of your grandmother's living room, it creates that scenario I described yesterday where everybody is just going even, barely positive, or barely negative every single match. I wouldn't be surprised if Omni movement gets tweaked throughout the entirety of the Black Ops 6 lifecycle, and I doubt we're going to see it again after COD 2025. It seems more like a gimmick in the same way that advanced movement was, and then of course in COD 2026 they can do a whole marketing campaign surrounding boots on the ground instead of butts on the ground, but maybe that's just wishful thinking on my part. Now that the swayiness rant is over, I think it's time to talk about the perceived success of Black Ops 6. People are kind of wondering, how is the game doing? There's differing opinions all over. I'm kind of the opinion of the game is fun, it's sweaty as hell, and there's definitely aspects of it that I just freaking hate, but overall the game's fun because it's brand new, there's these new progression paths and everything. Like a new COD launch is always going to be fun. It's the honeymoon phase, right? But other people are wondering, is the game actually doing well? Is it breaking records? How's it doing compared to Modern Warfare 3? How's it doing compared to Modern Warfare 2? And so far, we don't have too many metrics to gauge the success of the game, but we do have a few things. We have Circana as well as Steam charts. Now, Circana is a company that's kind of like a video game analyst website, essentially, and they report that nearly 50% of all active Xbox Series players in the United States played Black Ops 6 last week, which is pretty freaking crazy. Like half of all people who own a newer Xbox in the US played Black Ops 6 last week, at least gave it a try, right? Likely due to the fact that it's on Game Pass, but also because the game holds the Black Ops title. It's made by Treyarch. You know, it's a new COD. Obviously, it's going to be popular, but 50% is pretty freaking crazy, though a lot of that is going to be tied to Game Pass. The power of Game Pass is also proven by the fact that while it's nearly 50% of players on Xbox, it's 33% of players on PlayStation 5, but even then, that is a 30% increase to how many people were playing Call of Duty at the end of Modern Warfare 3. Over on Steam charts, Black Ops 6 hit over 306,000 concurrent players on Steam, which is the most players at one time for a Call of Duty game on Steam since the initial launch of Modern Warfare 2, which means that Black Ops 6 is already more successful than Modern Warfare 3. That's not surprising considering Modern Warfare 3 was kind of touted as this big DLC as compared to a full game, and it had arguably one of the worst launches that we've ever had in the Call of Duty franchise. Not in terms of content or like how the game was, but rather how many people actually purchased the game. Now, while these numbers don't mean a ton as of right now, they certainly do paint the picture that Black Ops 6, at the very least, is a popular game. People are hopping on and playing it a ton. Whether or not they're enjoying the map design, the skill-based matchmaking, or the spawn killing is a different question entirely, but people are trying the game, which ultimately I think is a good thing for the COD franchise. I think that overall, Black Ops 6 is a solid COD if you like the current state of Call of Duty. If you played games like Black Ops Cold War, maybe even Vanguard, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, then you're probably going to like this game. We are still in the skill-based matchmaking Warzone era of COD. The progression alone is amazing, and the return to the Black Ops universe is great, but the same old problems still remain. Skill-based matchmaking will always plague the COD franchise, but this time around, we also have a pretty piss-poor selection of maps to play on, and that's certainly causing a lot of frustration from the player base. I suppose the only way to know for sure whether or not you're going to like the game is to hop on and play it for yourself. It's free if you have Xbox or PC Game Pass, and of course, it's also available on PlayStation 5, and even the last-gen consoles, which was kind of a weird choice, but I saw some videos, and apparently the last-gen version of the game does not really run that poorly, which is good for those players that never upgraded. I think that the launch of a new Call of Duty game will always be something special. Despite the flaws, despite the problems, it's still the launch of a new game, and I already have a day of playtime in it, even though it barely just released. We are certainly right now in the honeymoon phase, and it will be interesting to see how Treyarch handles the feedback of this game moving forward. People are already calling for new maps to release, a new map pack feedback, something to change up how these maps play. And I'm talking about everyone. I'm seeing like random people on Twitter, people on Reddit, people I've talked to in real life, but also you have people like content creators, YouTubers, live streamers, even media outlets, like random news sites and everything. Like PC Gamer, for crying out loud, is like, man, these spawns are terrible. What is wrong with these maps? You know, they're getting a lot of negative feedback in regards to the maps within Black Ops 6. So it will be interesting to see what Treyarch is going to be doing. So far, they have been completely silent on the issue. And it's also kind of funny that people are complaining that the maps are too small and chaotic right now, but we're set to get the launch of Nuketown on November 1st, just a couple of days from now. And while Nuketown does look great and is tailored after the original design of the map, which is awesome, it's still Nuketown. They're really like doubling down on the idea that the entire Black Ops 6 multiplayer is basically just these small maps playlist from Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3. It will be interesting to see how Treyarch handles that feedback, what changes may come to the game. Hell, maybe they redesign some of the maps and change how things work and definitely readjust the spawn system, because if they do that, if we had a better core set of maps to play on and the spawn system were a bit better, then the overall feeling and the narrative surrounding Black Ops 6 I think would change entirely. Skill-based matchmaking is still there, but sliding omni movement is still going to be there. But if the maps were a bit better, I think we would be having a whole different conversation and you guys would have been listening to an entirely different video here today. But guys, that is it for this review of Black Ops 6, my early first review of the game now that it's out and I put a ton of time into it. I'm curious to hear what you guys think down there in the comments. What do you like? What do you dislike? Like, give your feedback on the game. I can't wait to read through the comments. Thank you all so much for listening, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.